Hi, welcome back. And now we're going to read, if you're new to my channel, I like to read children's books. Actually, I like to read any books, but right now I'm working on children's books, but I just read any books that sound good to me and hope that you enjoy them and will join me as well. If you do, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, leave a comment. And honestly, if you have a little one that's listening and watching and you'd like me to say hello to them, share their name and I'll be happy to tell them good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello. So right now, like I said, we're reading King of the Dollhouse by Patricia Clapp. It was published in 1974. That shows you it's an older book. And we're getting ready to start chapter 3. So here we go. At breakfast, Ellie's parents kissed her and then each read half of the morning paper while they ate. After a while, Ellie's father, who wrote for the newspapers and worked in an office, got up and went to work. Ellie's mother, who wrote books for children and worked in a tiny room filled with sunlight, looked over the top of the paper. "I'm having a hard time with chapter 5, Ellie," she said. "So I'll be busy today. Would you mind tidying your room? I'll try to give it a thorough cleaning later." Ellie twisted one foot around her other ankle and thought very fast. "I'll give my room a thorough cleaning," she said. "You won't have to come in at all." Ellie's mother looked pleased and a little surprised. "That would be a great help," she said. Then she sighed. "I really don't know what I'm going to do about chapter 5. Miss Pinklenose has become quite stubborn. I can't make her to do what I want her to at all." That looks like that must be Ellie's mama looking over the paper. "You'll think of something," Ellie said confidently. "I know you will. You always do. And I'll clean my room and I won't bother you." "Thank you, darling. I'll look in at lunchtime and see how it is." "All right," said Ellie, "but you won't have to look much. I'll be very thorough." She carried the cleaning things upstairs, the vacuum cleaner bumping on every step. She wasn't looking forward to the room cleaning, but it was better than having her mother come in to do it. However, Ellie knew it was going to be impossible to keep her parents out of her room forever, and she decided she'd better find some place where the king and babies could hide in case, so to speak, of an invasion. Dumping her cleaning equipment on the floor, she knelt down beside the dollhouse. The peanut butter babies had awakened from their morning naps and were having a fine time sliding down the banister and landing in little heaps at the bottom. King Borra was in the kitchen carefully wiping out the toothpaste cup with his paper napkin. He looked up as Ellie peered into the room. "I find there's no running water in this establishment," he said accusingly. "No, there isn't," Ellie said, "but at least you have electricity for which you should be grateful." "I didn't say I wasn't grateful for the electricity. I just said there wasn't any running water. The two things are totally different. How am I to bathe the children if there's no running water?" "I can bring you some from my bathroom and pour it into a little tub, and I'll bring a bit of soap. There are towels already. Would that do?" The king nodded slowly with great dignity. "Yes, I think that would do admirably," he said. "I'll get those things now," Ellie decided, "and then while you're bathing the babies, I must clean my room. Otherwise, my mother will do it, and you would have to spend a long time hiding somewhere." She paused and thought, "Only I don't know where." The king walked into the dining room, scratching his head, which tipped his crown rather rankishly to one side. "Yes," he said, "that might be a problem, mightn't it? It is always wise, I have found, to have one's escape well planned in advance. Let me see now. He strolled slowly into the living room and then into the front hall, looking around him as he moved. And in the front hall, he stopped and gazed a little closer door. At that very same minute, Ellie said rather loudly, "Yes, that's the very place." The king opened the door to reveal a closet where Ellie kept the dollhouse vacuum cleaner. He peered inside and then turned to Ellie. "It seems quite satisfactory," he announced. "Very well. If I feel the danger is near, I will immediately herd the babies in here." Several babies who were still sliding down the banister had plopped onto the hall floor and lay there giggling, and the king stepped carefully over them. "They may make a good deal of noise," he observed. "I trust they won't be overheard." "It's a very tiny noise," Ellie assured him. "Oh, I am glad we thought of the hall closet. You should be quite safe in there, Your Majesty. Now, I'll get the bath things for you, and then I must clean my room." Ellie brought a glass of warm water from her bathroom and emptied it into the dollhouse tub, and she scraped off very small bits of soap and laid them on the edge of the tub. And the king shooed all the peanut butter babies into the little bathroom and dropped them into the water, where they splashed and gurgled and laughed and blew bubbles at each other. Oh, look, there they are, going down the banister and landing in a heap. Looks like they're having a fun time. While the babies bathed, Ellie began to clean her room. First, she made her bed much more carefully than she ever had because she didn't want her mother to come in and make it over again as she sometimes did. "There's a large wrinkle there under the pillow," said the king, called out. "You'd better make it straight." "Oh, thank you, I will," said Ellie. Then she wiped the dust cloth around at places on her dresser where things weren't. But again, the king was watching. "That will never do," he said. "You must lift everything up and dust under it, and then dust the things themselves before you put them back." Ellie stopped and looked at him. "How do you know so much about housekeeping?" The king looked right back at her rather sternly. "My dear child," he said, "a king must know a great many things. Besides, as I've already told you, I enjoy housekeeping, and I like to see it done well. You missed a place right there by the hairbrush." Ellie went on cleaning, and the king offered helpful suggestions from time to time as he pulled the peanut butter babies out of the tub one by one and dried them off with a towel. Several times the babies hopped right back into the tub because they enjoyed it so much, so the whole procedure took quite a while. When Ellie switched on the vacuum cleaner, the babies were frightened for a moment and burst into tiny wails, burying their heads under whatever was handy, such as a rug or a sofa cushion or each other. However, King Borra assured them there was no danger and showed them the Dollhouse vacuum cleaner and pushed it around on the rug for them to watch. And since there was no electric cord on the cleaner, it wasn't very effective at cleaning anything. But the babies were delighted with it and took turns riding on it as the king pushed. Then, when her vacuuming was done, Ellie looked at her room with satisfaction. "I do think I have done a very thorough cleaning," she said proudly. "Don't forget to empty your wastebasket," King Borra reminded her, "and while you're at it, perhaps you could find something suitable that I might use for the same purpose. The paper napkin, for instance, I could find no place to dispose of it." Ellie thought for a moment and then ran to her little sewing basket and found the thimble. "Here, how will this do?" King Borra looked at it and nodded and said, "You are a resourceful child, my dear. Now, if you will wait 1 second." And he carried the thimble into the dollhouse kitchen, dropped the paper napkin into it, and brought it back, handing it to Ellie. She emptied the thimble into a big wastebasket, gave the thimble back to the kitchen, and carried her wastebasket downstairs. At lunchtime, Ellie's mother seemed happier. "I think I've got Miss Pinkletoe back on the right track," and she put her sandwiches on the table. "I'm glad," said Ellie. "I knew you would. I've cleaned my room. How do you want to look at it after lunch?" Ellie's mom sat down with a sandwich in her hand, staring out the window. She said, and Ellie knew she was still thinking hard about Miss Pinkletoe. Ellie finished her lunch and got up quickly, recalling the king had said that he liked raisins and cookies, and she poured a few raisins into her hand and took a chocolate chip cookie from the cookie jar. It smelled so good she took another one for herself, and then she went and stood beside her mother. Well, there they are in the kitchen. That must be Ellie in the doorway and her mama at the table, thinking about her books. "Mother," she said, "do you want to look at my room? I've cleaned it." Ellie's mother gave a sort of faraway look and then smiled. "Oh, have you? How wonderful. Yes, I'll come look. I'll be there in just a minute." "Don't hurry," Ellie said and ran upstairs. As she entered her room, the king put his tiny finger into his lips. "Shh," he shushed. "I just put the children down for a nap. Don't awaken them." "I have to awaken them," Ellie whispered. "Mother's coming up to see if my room is really clean. I can't leave the babies in bed. She might see them." "But I just got them to sleep," said the king. "We can't wake them up now." "Maybe we won't have to. You open the closet door and I'll put the babies in there. I'll be very careful." "I suppose it's only prudent," said the king as he went down the stairs, "but I do hope they don't wake up." He opened the closet door in the little hall. Ellie very, very carefully lifted the mattress, babies, and blanket in all one hand, and very, very carefully laid them on the closet floor. The peanut butter babies didn't stir, and King Borra sighed with relief. Ellie gave him 3 raisins and 1 cookie, which he carried under his arm because it was so big, and he took them with him into the closet, closing the door behind him just as Ellie's mother appeared. She looked as pleased as Ellie had hoped she would. "Why, darling, you've done a beautiful job. Your bed is smooth as can be. You've even dusted under everything. And I vacuum and empty the wastebasket," she said proudly. "What a tremendous help you're getting to be. You're really a much better housekeeper than I am. I don't know where you learned to do it so well." Out of the corner of her eye, Ellie thought she saw the closet door in the dollhouse open just a crack, as though someone might be listening from the other side. "Oh," she said loud enough for the king to hear, if he was really listening. "I just happen to enjoy housekeeping, and I like to see it done well." And very slowly, quietly, the little closet door closed. So, sounds like King Borra is helping Ellie become a better housekeeper. So that is the end of chapter 3, and thank you for listening with me, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll move on to the next chapter soon. Thank you.